It is exam time in the European Parliament. This is one of the rooms where the so-called confirmation hearings will take place. The 26 nominees for the future European Commission will have to prove that they qualify to take on their portfolios. The process starts on November 4th, and eu-decoded will unpack it for you. Let's see the composition of the new team. If the 16 men and 11 women are approved by the Parliament in the confirmation process, there will be a 60-40% ratio of men to women. However, the President herself and 4 of her 6 Vice Presidents will be women. Around half, or 15 commissioners, hail from the centre-right EPP. 5 belong to the Socialists and Democrats, and another 5 to the Liberal Renew. On the right wing, there is 1 member of the Patriots and 1 of the ECR. Each EU government nominates a commissioner, but the Parliament will have the final word. We asked some citizens what they think about the process of grilling those nominees.
Well, I think it's really important because at the end of the day, the commissioner are indirectly elected, so it's not going through a popular process like the vote that is happening democratically. So I think that the fact that the European Parliament has a final say about the EU Commissioner is totally normal to say yes or no. So yeah, I think it's the essence of democracy in Europe.
The more transparent recruitment process is, especially in the European institutions, the better it is.
I know it was Maria Luísa Albuquerque, and I think she's a good fit for the job because she served as the Minister of Finance in Portugal during the subprime crisis, and only good commissioners will be able to think about important and good reforms of the European Union.
I know the person nominated from Cyprus, it's Mr. Cadiz. He will be well performed in his duties, and I think the Parliament will see that.
To further decode this topic, I will now speak to my colleague Roman Armango. Hello, Roman.
Hi.
So you've been following this topic quite a lot. The first step in this parliamentary process involves checking for conflict of interests. Does the committee actually have enough powers to investigate the financial declarations?
Every commissioner designated have to answer some kind of questionnaire, which is basically a question regarding positions they held in the past regarding jobs, but also outside of work, and also about their financial interests that they may have. But the problem that has been highlighted by a few MEPs is that actually Legal Affairs Committee doesn't have any investigative power, only rely on the answer that have been given by commissioner designated, and they don't have an actual investigative power to know if they lie on the declaration or they forgot to put important elements.
And what happens in the hearing process, like interviews that are carried out by the parliamentary committees?
Starting with a 15 minutes presentation from the commissioner presenting the priority, followed by a Q&A by MEPs from the biggest to the smaller group, and finishing by a closing statement of the commissioner designated. However, not all the MPs are not interrogated, all the commissioner. It is happening in a span of 6 days and divided by committees. For example, the commissioner for agriculture will be integrated by the committees on agriculture.
How does the parliament assess and vote on the nominees?
So immediately after the hearings, a group of MEPs that took part in these hearings will gather and determine whether or not they were convinced by the performance of the commissioner. If that's not the case, they can ask for further questions or another hearings that this time will be a bit less long. And if they still don't agree after all of this process, they will have to go back to stage 1 and a member state will have to propose another candidate.
But finally, they will have to go also to the plenaries to be voted on?
Exactly. So once the 26 candidates have been approved by the European Parliament, they will gather in Strasbourg and the member of the Parliament will vote by a simple majority on the entirety of the College of Commissioners.
Thank you, Roman. Hearings can be a difficult test and sometimes candidates fail. Let's take the example of the latest hearings in 2019. 3 candidates were rejected. Laszlo Trocani from Hungary failed at the stage regarding conflict of interests. The same reason was invoked for Rovana Plumb from Romania. Sylvie Goulard from France failed due to doubts about her integrity and expertise. On our decoding journey, I will now speak to a researcher from the Center for European Policy Studies. Hello, Sofia Rosac.
Hello.
So the Parliament is quite polarized. How will they use this powerful tool over the Commission?
I think it's important to know that what we see now is a bit of an institutional muscle flexing also on the side of the European Parliament, because they're aware that the power that they have over the Commission now is the biggest.
And who are the most controversial nominees in these hearings, would you say?
So the candidates that were widely discussed already for a while as being potentially in danger in the hearings is the Hungarian candidate, Olivier Várhelyi. He has been proven to be, let's say, quite a mouthpiece for Viktor Orban, which is something that, you know, the Parliament did not approve. And also the Slovenian candidate, Marta Kos, is set to be facing probably quite a difficult hearing because there were some cases of mismanagement in her time as an ambassador. But what we see is also, you know, an increasing party political tit for tat in this process. And that is particularly true for the Liberals and the SD, because they only have 4 college members in this commission, and there's 14 EPP, so there is a clear EPP dominance in the next college. And so the worry is if the SD and Renew, if they're giving the EPP commissioners a hard time, then in return, their own commissioners might face difficulties. And some of the most prominent Renew and SD posts of the executive vice presidents are scheduled for the very end of the process. And one could read it in a way that the EPP is taking these candidates hostage in order to get their own candidates safely through the procedure.
And what could be the impact of the rejection of some nominees during the hearings?
Some member states, the head of state can decide this basically alone. So then it's going to be a very quick process. But in other member states, the parliament or the European Affairs Committee, for instance, has to approve, or the president has to approve next to the prime minister. So there is lots of internal procedure that might prolong the whole process. So it's really difficult to say. It might be that there's a quick turnover and that the Commission can still start on 1st of December, but it might also delay the whole thing.
Thank you very much, Sophia Rosak, for your participation on EU-Decoded.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Those who pass the grilling process will work in the Berlaymont building, the Commission's Brussels-based headquarters. The Jean Monnet room on the 13th floor is where the executive meetings take place every week. The 27 commissions are also known as the College. Thanks for watching, and don't miss next week's program for more decoding of European Union policies.